Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is the 42nd ever live chat that I've done every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's crazy. It's already been 42 since I started doing this. I remember asking you guys live on like a fight stream when I was doing a fight stream if you guys would like to do these types of live streams. And you guys told me, yeah, do them. And every Wednesday we've done them, 6 p.m. Eastern. It is February 2nd, 2022. Which, wow, it's already in February. That's insane to me. And we have 2,059 subscribers, which is crazy. Every day we gain a few more. We're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about on the stream. We can also talk about, I always throw some things in the titles. We're going to talk about Jack Hermansson versus Sean Strickland. My prediction video is out for that, as well as Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Carlston Harris. I did 2 prediction videos for this upcoming card. Those on the channel. If you haven't checked those out yet, do me a favor, check those out after the stream. Make sure to like them as well. Just UFC Vegas 47 in general. I will be doing a live stream on Saturday night. I already have it scheduled on the channel. I'm actually way ahead of the game this week. It's already scheduled on the channel, so you can go find it and set a reminder. And you can join me on Saturday night. And also, I saw some articles talking about Kamaru Usman versus Israel Adesanya. I threw that in the title. I figured we can talk about that. It's always fun to talk about potential super fights. UFC 271 is coming up between Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker too. We can talk about that. It's crazy. Literally, in a week from now, I'll already have my predictions out for those. I always try to put the big predictions out Monday, Tuesday. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other fight news that maybe I probably missed or just didn't see yet, you know what I mean? And you guys will let me know in the chat. Do me a favor, as always, if you haven't already. I've seen a lot of you guys already have before I even start the streams, which I absolutely love. You guys are finding the streams and liking them before I even get on here, which I greatly appreciate. It really helps. Supposedly, the likes help, YouTube recommend it to more people. Then in turn, more people tune in. Then in turn, more people end up subscribing. We grow the channel. We're already over 2,000 subscribers, well over 2,000 subscribers, which I never even imagined was possible. So I appreciate you guys liking. If you haven't liked yet, please like the video. If you're watching the replay, make sure you like it as well. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I greatly appreciate them. I look forward to doing these every Wednesday. Like, I know we talk about, oh, it's going to grow the channel, help grow the channel. But this is mainly for the people, we already have a community of quite a few people who are here every single week asking questions. We're talking MMA, and we have a great time. And I love doing it, so appreciate you guys. You know who you are. Let's read some questions. So French Fry says 2.06 subscribers. Let's go. Yeah, and actually that jumped up a little bit early. Usually it doesn't jump up early because technically we're 1 subscriber away from 2.6. I'm going to try to do, I've watched some of the fights, but you know me, I don't like to, I know some people will give you 1 or 2 minutes of analysis of a fight and throw out a prediction, a half-assed prediction. I don't like ever doing that. When I give you guys a prediction, it is a well-researched prediction. I don't just like throwing shit at the wall. And I'm going to try to, because I really want to make a more of an effort, even some of these lower quality cards, to do more prediction videos for those cards. So somebody asked for a prediction for Brian Battle versus Tresean Gore, I think his name is. And I've watched some fights. I might do a quick prediction video. It might not be as long just because there's not a long history to analyze of these two, but I'm making it a goal this year to try to do at least 2 prediction videos per card. For all the bigger pay-per-views, I'm always pumping out 5, 6, sometimes even 7 prediction videos, but I like to be well-researched in them. So I might do that after this stream. We'll see. And I forgot what else I was going to say. I don't know. What's up, John Rod? Thank you for the thumbs up. Ben Rothwell versus Alexander Gustafsson prediction and thoughts about him having a fight at heavyweight, and Sam Alvey versus Brendan Allen thoughts. Great questions, Pine. We were actually talking about this on the Discord server yesterday when I think the news broke yesterday. It might have been the day before. I don't even remember at this point. For me personally, first off, I don't know if you're saying this or not, but Gustafsson did have 1 fight at heavyweight. He lost to Fabricio Werdum via submission. But before I even had a channel, I've always been an advocate of Alexander Gustafsson fighting at heavyweight. I always thought he could have more success at heavyweight than he could have at light heavyweight. And what's crazy is because he has a win over Glover Teixeira, a brutal knockout of Glover Teixeira, who's now champion at light heavyweight. But either way, I think that Gustafsson can beat Ben Rothwell unless he's rapidly declined. He's fell off a cliff. I think he can beat Ben Rothwell. And if he doesn't, I know Gustafsson has flirted with retirement in the past. If he can't get by Ben Rothwell, who I don't even believe is ranked in the top 15 at heavyweight, and heavyweight's bleak as hell, I think it's time for him to hang it up if he can't get by Ben Rothwell. I know if he loses, technically he could probably jump back down to light heavyweight and maybe compete there. I mean, light heavyweight's getting better every day, but there's a lot of, thinking about Gustafsson in his prime, there's a lot of winnable fights at light heavyweight, but it all depends where his skills are at currently. He's been not super active. He has lost. How long ago was that loss to Werdum? I don't remember. It seems like at least 2020, right? Maybe fall 2020 if I had to guess. Let's take a look. Summer 2020. So it's been a solid almost 2 years by the time he does fight, because I think that fight's scheduled for May. So if he's not staying active, I don't know how he would do if he does lose this. He's on a three fight losing streak. Fabricio Werdum, I swear, I think that guy was cheating, by the way. I know he got caught once, but it's so funny how he wanted out the UFC. He never said a real reason why. And I think it was USADA. And he lost to Werdum. That's not a terrible loss to have. And he looked good in that fight, even though it didn't last very long. But Fabricio was just determined to drag him to the ground. And he got him to the ground and he submitted him. But I still think Gus can do some things at heavyweight. Imagine if somehow 2023 we get John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson 3 for the heavyweight title. That would be insanity. As far as Sam Alvey versus Brendan Allen's taking a massive risk. He's jumping in here, coming off that loss. I believe to Chris Curtis was his last fight. And, I like that he wants to get back in there. Yep, his last fight was December. He lost to Chris Curtis. I think it's a very winnable fight, but if you lose to Sam Alvey, who's on like a 28 million fight losing streak, let's see what he's actually on. He's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight losing streak. 7 fights if you count the draw, which I guess you can't count as a loss. But he hasn't won a fight in the last 7 fights. The last fight he won was against John Vellante in 2018. If he goes out there and loses to Sam Alvey, that is a terrible look. A terrible look. So, hopefully he doesn't lose, but I think he probably just wants to get back in there, collect a paycheck, and he sees Sam Alvey as a very winnable task. What's up, MMA Joey, brother? I made it early this time. Thank you. Keep out. Appreciate you. Always. Thank you for coming. I saw Yuri was talking about Usman as well. What was Yuri saying about Usman? Thoughts on Cater being a backup for Volk TKZ fight? I didn't even see this, French fries. That's why I love doing these streams, because sometimes, as connected as I am to the MMA news, sometimes I miss stuff like that. I think it kind of makes sense. I don't ever like a backup fight, to be quite honest. And Cater's basically the backup to the backup. TKZ doesn't necessarily deserve a title shot. I guess he's the most deserving now that Cater lost. I would have preferred the UFC just push Volk Max 3 back. But to be honest, Volk versus TKZ and Volk versus Cater are very fun fights for me. So even though I don't necessarily think either one of those guys have earned a featherweight title shot yet, I would enjoy watching both those fights. Yep, Anna hit the like first. How do you feel about 2 different opponents so far for Smile and Sam? I think, somebody said it before. Dana White has a Sam Alvey getting brutalized fetish. Because it's crazy that he hasn't won a fight in his last 7 fights. He's still fighting in the UFC and he's getting, beat up. I think Sam Alvey can win, I guess. But, he's never really shown. Who has he beaten? This is crazy. I think this is going to be, if Sam Alvey loses to Brendan Allen, I'll call it right now on the channel. You guys can remember it. Sam Alvey, if he loses, this will be his final fight in the UFC. But, I respect him. He took the Phil Hawes fight. The Phil Hawes fight was a tough fight. And now he's taking the Brendan Allen fight. Gotta respect Smile and Sam Alvey. Dude is looking to take tough opponents. He took, he fought Wellington Turman to a split decision. He got finished by Julian Marquez. He fought Da Ong Yung to a split decision draw. He lost a lot of split decisions, didn't he? So, in the last I can't believe he beat Rashad Evans. Smiling Sam Alvey lost to Rashad Evans. How far has Rashad Evans fallen? I forgot about that. Guys. But I think this is do or die for Sam Alvey. And Brendan Allen, it's looking bleak for him. If he loses to Smiling Sam Alvey, I don't know. Have you heard anything about Alex Pereira's next fight? Alex Pereira does have a fight. It's against, is it Bruno De Silva, I think? Bruno De Silva, isn't it? Versus Alex Pereira, I believe. Yeah, it's Bruno Silva. Yep. Bruno Silva. It's on the March 12th card. So it's only next month. It's Bruno Silva. Let me make sure. What did I call him to start off with? Bruno. I thought I called him something else. Didn't I give him 3 names when I... okay, it's Bruno Silva. March 12th, he's fighting... now I forgot that quick who we were talking about. Where were we at here? Alex Pereira. Yep, Alex Pereira. And if Alex Pereira wins that fight, I want to see him get a top 15 opponent. I want to see the UFC fast track him to an Ottasanya fight. Paulo Costa is an idiot. Why would he want an immediate rematch against Vettori? I truly believe... and... First off, Paulo Costa is hilarious. Let me pull up this quote. Real quick, guys. Hold on one second. In this quote, I took a screenshot of it because I thought it was so hilarious. He said, Marvin Vettori is the only viable guy that interests me. If it's not him, I'm not even interested in fighting. I want to end his life. He's an a-hole. Well, I don't even know why I said a-hole. He's an asshole, a fool. He had his win over me and thinks he's the man, but he's an asshole, a child. We will see he's a goof. He can't even wear his shorts the right way. There's a photo of him with his shorts backwards, and he still thinks he's the man. But I'll fight him again. That made me laugh out loud. For those of you who don't know, the UFC does a photo shoot like the week of the fight. When Marvin Vettori was fighting Israel Adesanya, he went to the photo shoot and accidentally put his Venom shorts on backwards. And there's pictures of Marvin Vettori wearing his shorts backwards. It is hysterical. If I could, I'd get a members only emoji made out of it, but it's too big. It's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to tell what it is, right? As far as Costa, the vibe I get, and I said this back then, it's on the channel. I think Costa came into the fight injured against Marvin Vettori. I think that the reason the UFC didn't shit on him too much about missing weight, even though it was like weird as hell the way he just came in, he didn't make any excuse. Because he didn't want to get pulled from the fight. I think Costa came in, did not make any excuses because he didn't want the commission looking into anything. Also, he didn't want to put a target on his back about what was injured. And I think he went in there, he lost, he fought valiantly. It was a close fight. It was an amazing fight. Vettori's made of steel somehow. And I think he's pissed because he lost. And I think he thinks that was not his best self. And I think that's why he wants the rematch. He looks at Vettori. Vettori's ranked number 2, right? UFC rankings. I don't know why I don't have this up before I even start the stream because I always need the rankings. So you look at Marvin Vettori, he sits at number 2. I think Paulo Costa says, you know what? I'm number 5. Why shouldn't I be fighting number 2? I think I can beat the guy. I've already fought him once. And Marvin Vettori isn't close to a title shot because he's already fought Adesanya twice. So who else is Marvin Vettori going to fight right now? He has nobody else to fight. Marvin Vettori's in a weird spot. Who's Marvin Vettori going to fight? I don't know. I really don't know. Because Marvin Vettori has the win over Paulo Costa, but he has 2 losses to Israel Adesanya. Then you have Whitaker who's fighting Adesanya next. If Whitaker doesn't win, what is Vettori going to fight Whitaker next? Well, coming off a loss, maybe. But that's not going to be for a while. And they fought back in October, as in Costa and Vettori. Then you have Jared Cannanier versus Derek Brunson. I guess Vettori could fight the winner of that fight. But if the winner of that fight is Jared Cannanier, he's probably getting the title shot. If the winner of that fight is Derek Brunson, I guess. But I don't think the UFC is going to want to see Marvin Vettori fight Adesanya for the 3rd time, and I don't think fans are clamoring for it either. Not only did he lose, they were relatively boring fights. So I think Costa says, you know what, I could probably get that fight. I think Costa's the biggest fight Vettori can get. If I was Vettori, I'd take it. You just beat him. Why not beat him again? Keep the questions coming, guys. Fill the chat with questions. Soon I will join the channel, brother. What was that noise? Just heard some random noise in here. And I don't know what it was. What is that? Oh, it's this cord right here I was touching. I was trying to figure out. I heard a weird noise right here. Soon I will join the channel. Medical reasons are keeping me from it now, but soon, brother, I can support you by watching and interacting on the chat. Always appreciate you, man. Always appreciate you liking the streams, watching the streams, being a part of the streams, subscribing to the channel. All great support. The membership is just an extra thing, man. The membership is just an extra thing, but I appreciate you very much. Do you think Dana would cheat with letting Jones fight Ngannou while on steroids? I don't know, man. I don't think he would do it any ultra suspicious way. But, you know, I don't think any one fighter is worth ruining the sport, basically. But there is some little bit dodgy things that go on with USADA and Jones and Dana and the big stars in general. Yair, what are we talking about here? You just said Yair. I don't know what that means. Sup, Joey? What's up, L? Cater versus TKZ. Who wins? Absolute war that would be. I'd probably go TKZ. But Cater's so durable, puts on great pressure. But I'd probably go TKZ. Just a more technical guy, more well-rounded guy. But I could see either guy winning. What about you guys? Who do you think, Cater or TKZ? Who wins? 100%. Caleb, I don't know what that's referring to, so you have to fill me in the chat. I would love to know. I'm talking and I'm not exactly reading the chat while sometimes I'm talking, so I don't know exactly when that came in, unfortunately. Do you think Robert Whittaker will get any takedowns during the fight and the likeliness of him getting a sub? I think maybe he gets a takedown. It's going to be hard. Adesanya has good takedown defense. Likeliness of him, I don't think he's subbing Adesanya. I don't think Robert Whittaker has some world-class jiu-jitsu. And I think Adesanya has good enough jiu-jitsu defense and submission defense. It's not like Robert Whittaker. I mean, who's Robert Whittaker who's he subbing anyway? I must have subscribing. Let's see. Let's take a look. What's Robert Whittaker's? I can't believe I'm going to be doing a prediction video on this soon. Maybe French fries. Maybe we'll watch the first Whittaker-Adesanya fight in the members-only Discord. That's a good idea. Maybe this weekend if we get a chance. So, let's see. In the UFC, yeah, Whittaker has never got a submission in the UFC. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 submission wins, but they're all very, very early on, like 12 years ago. So he hasn't got a submission in 12 years. Zero, I don't say zero, less than 10% chance he subs Adesanya. Less than 10%. But Costa had a huge advantage with it being 205. Yeah, but at least he kind of made it known earlier in the week, so maybe Vettori probably didn't cut weight either. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm misremembering. I 100% agree. Let's run it back. Yeah, the way I see it is there's no one else for Vettori to fight anyway. So run it back. It was a great fight. Okay, who do you got in the Lozon-Cerrone matchup? I hope they just both retire. I hope it goes to a decision, and I hope it's a draw, and then they both retire. If I had to pick somebody, I'll pick... I guess I'll pick Lozon, but I don't know, man. That's a tough fight to pick, to be quite honest. Both guys, I mean, Lozon hasn't fought in forever. Cerrone's been getting ravished by every fighter he's faced in the last 2 years. But I guess I'll go Lozon just because he's probably fresh. Oh my goodness. Yair versus Volk. Yair versus Volk is very, very interesting. I would love to see that fight. I think Volk probably takes him down and holds him down. But the striking of Yair and his stamina, he arguably wins the 5th round against a Max Holloway. The Yair Volk matchup is more interesting to me than Volk versus Max 3, arguably. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a future champ. I think he looks very promising. I think it's a little bit early to determine that, but I think he looks very promising, and I made it known as such that I believe it when I did my prediction video. By the way, guys, if you haven't watched my prediction videos for this Saturday, I put out 2 of them. Please check them out after the stream. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's do a poll real quick. I like doing these polls to find out what you guys think. Who wins? Alexander Volkanovski Yair Rodriguez. Guys, I'm going to put the poll here in the chat. Go vote on that real quick. Let me know who you think wins. Let me know who you think wins while I take a drink. Go vote in the poll. I'll leave it up for a little bit. By the way, guys, if anyone's watching and they're not subscribed, go subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know if you're in this chat. Who's joining me Saturday for Jack Hermansson versus Sean Strickland? I'm going to be live for the entire main card at the bare minimum. Maybe I might start a little bit early if I can. But let me know who's going to be here. So, Shavkat Rakhmonov is a future champ. Is there any jiu-jitsu black belt in the heavyweight division? I don't know. I don't know that answer. I don't think so. I mean, there's nobody in the heavyweight division that's really good on the ground. Where Doom used to be that guy. But I'll say no, but I'm not 100% sure of everyone's credentials. But I don't think so. I don't think so. But don't hold me 100% to that. By the way, also, guys, the stream is already set for Saturday. I already scheduled it on the channel. You can find it directly on my channel. Upcoming live streams. If you click on it, you can set reminders so you'll get a notification on Saturday when I go live. So, just letting you know. What martial art is best for the UFC? I think a wrestling base is best. Because if you can't stuff takedowns, you're going to get wrecked. It doesn't matter how good your striking is. So I think wrestling is probably the best background to come from, in my opinion. And also if you're a really good striker and you can defend takedowns, you're gonna be able to destroy guys. Anderson Silva was able to fend off takedowns for years, and he was leaps and bounds above some of these guys in striking, and was knocking guys out left and right. Sam Alvey is fighting this weekend. I'm shocked the guy's still on the roster, man. We gotta leave Sam Alvey alone. We gotta leave smiling Sam Alvey alone. Come on, guys. Come on. He might not be after this weekend. I'm never gonna wish for a guy to lose his job. I want everyone to get paid. Do you think Volk ever moves up to 155? I don't know, man. I think. He's gonna be too small. Maybe not too small for Oliveira, because Oliveira's not a huge lightweight. Does he beat Gaethje? I guess maybe he could. I don't think he beats Poirier. I don't think he beats Islam or Beneil. I doubt he beats Chandler. But that's just off the top of my head right now. I would have to think more in it. But maybe, I think it's possible. But if I was him, he has an endless list of contenders. It doesn't seem like he has a really tough weight cut by any means. So I think he probably stays at 45 for quite a while. I will be here Saturday. Thank you, New Mexico. Appreciate you. Hopefully, appreciate you. Dude, Strickland will break Hermansson. Hamzat has already started mental deconstruction by tossing him around. Everyone keeps talking about Hamzat tossing Jack Hermansson around. That was a wrestling match. I don't think, maybe if Hamzat was fighting Jack Hermansson, maybe you could look into that. But that's not what's going on here. But I'm going with Strickland by decision. That's my prediction. I put out an official prediction video. I just, Hermansson, when I went back, so every prediction video I do, I really try to watch as much recent fights as possible and really get a feel in my mind of both guys' skill sets and then try to determine what I think will happen. And what I noticed when watching it is just Jack Hermansson, first off, he doesn't have the best hands. But also, I don't know, it's hard to tell, but it looks like he's regressed a little bit. The Hermansson that fought Vettori, I would have picked, if that was his last fight, I might have picked Hermansson. But in the last fight against Edmund Shabazian was lighting him up on the feet in the first round. The fight before that, was that the Vettori fight? Let me look that up. Now I'm forgetting. It's like my memory's going. Let's see. So Edmund Shabazian, before that was Marvin Vettori. He did not look that great in the Edmund Shabazian fight. I know he dominated him in the third round. I know he won the second round. But I just think the entries to the takedowns for Jack Hermansson are too sloppy. And I don't think he's going to be able to be competitive on the feet. I think Sean Strickland, I wouldn't even call him a good striker. But the guy just puts volume on people. And they're not pillow punches. They're not Colby Covington pillow punches, as I like to say. They're not Anthony Rumble Johnson. They're not Francis Ngannou punches, but they're busting guys up. He was busting up Jocko. He was busting up Uriah Hall. He was busting up. I can't even remember. How am I forgetting when I just went over this in my prediction video, 3 days ago? Let's take a look. See, let me pull up his resume. Busting up Brendan Allen. TKO's Brendan Allen. Busting up Jack Marshman. It's not like these punches do no effect, and he makes an accumulative effect. If Hermansson can get a takedown and can control him on the ground, and he puts fear in Strickland's moving forward, right? I went through this in my prediction video, but I want to break it down a little bit here, considering we're 2 days away from the event, and I want you guys to understand my thought process. If Hermansson can, let's say he gets an early takedown on Sean Strickland's typical pressure, throwing volume strikes. Hermansson shoots on a takedown, gets Strickland down, and controls him for the rest of the round. And he puts that fear in Strickland that if I get taken down, I'm not able to get up. And Strickland doesn't move forward with this typical forward momentum and pressure. I think Jack Hermansson wins that fight. I think eventually, he's good enough on the feet to strike with Strickland. Strickland will get the better of him. But Strickland, with fear of the takedown, is going to not be as good, a little bit worried, a little bit hesitant on his shots. And I think Hermansson will be able to clinch up, look for trips. Hermansson's also a massive middleweight. He's huge. He looks humongous. And Strickland's a former welterweight. So I think if he puts that fear in him and Strickland's not able to have that forward pressure, then I think Hermansson can take him down. And I think if Hermansson wins by decision. Maybe submission, but if I had a bet, if you told me Hermansson wins, I say he wins by decision. Also, one thing I did notice in the Vettori fight, Hermansson has nasty body kicks. And Strickland leaves his body a little bit open. Maybe he could smash a body kick, hurt him to the body, finish him with TKO. But I don't think those possibilities are really super likely. But I went over this in the prediction video as well. I think Hermansson needs to come out. He needs to move around very well. And he needs to batter the lead leg of Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is very heavy on that lead leg. Jack Hermansson has decent leg kicks. He was brutalizing Edmund Shabazian, who's also very heavy on his lead leg. Brutalizing the legs. And if you can brutalize the legs of Sean Strickland, you can help, slow down that forward progress and that volume and that pressure he puts on you. And then help you maybe win in some other areas. But again, I don't think that's going to, I think it's partially going to happen. Strickland's a madman. He's going to move forward. Hermansson's going to be pedaling backwards nonstop, get tired quicker than he would usually just because of the constant pressure from Strickland. And I think Strickland's going to just batter him and win four out of 5 rounds or three out of 5 rounds and win a decision. Neither guy I don't see getting finished. Strickland, I think he's only been finished once, and I think Hermansson's only been finished once, at least in the last few years. So I think both guys are durable enough. Neither guy has enough power to really finish the other. If you told me there definitely was a finish in this fight, maybe I'd say Hermansson by sub. Like if you told me, okay, this fight's definitely going to end in the finish, I would say Hermansson by sub. I think that's the most likely finishing. But maybe Strickland could get a late round TKO, maybe a 4th or 5th round TKO if Hermansson does get really tired. But the other thing, and I forgot to mention this, and I hate to use this as an excuse for a lot of guys, but you never know. Jack Hermansson looked like his cardio took an effect on the Edmund Shabazian fight. And if I remember correctly, 2 weeks before that fight was supposed to happen, and Hermansson got COVID. And maybe that had an effect on him, maybe because he was sick. And this was like one that was rescheduled 2 weeks later. And it could have had an effect on his lungs, his cardio. We never know. I hate to use that as an excuse for some guys because you really don't know. But it's worth noting that I think he regressed significantly from the Vettori to the Shabazian fight. And that was a factor there too. That I feel like nobody really mentions. So to be honest, I could see either guy winning. But right in my confidence level, I'm like 75% Strickland, 25% Hermansson. I think a lot of people are counting out Hermansson a little bit too much. Strickland also doesn't have a very good resume at all. He hasn't, fought a lot of good guys. I mean, this is his biggest step up in competition. You could go back and say he fought Usman, but that was far before Usman was in his prime. He hasn't fought a lot of good guys. When Uriah Hall is your best win on your resume, that leaves a lot to be desired. So who knows? Maybe Jack Hermansson is far better. I don't know, but I think Strickland wins. I think the pressure, the volume, the stamina, the punches that aren't too soft, but they aren't full power. I think he lands quite a bit of them. Okay, let's get some more of the questions before I fall way behind. But guys, keep filling the chat with questions. Whatever you want to talk about, just fill the chat with questions. Dude, Strickland will break Hermansson. Okay, I already talked about that. I think that's what started me. Olenek, maybe, yeah. Yuri basically said that Usman would have no chance at 205, saying that even Ottasanya was undersized at 205. I agree with what Yuri said. Usman at 205 is an absolute joke. I think he just said that to say it, for shock value. I want to see Stipe fight soon. I know. We were talking about this in the members only Discord. Stipe has not even fought since I started this channel. That is insane to me. That is absolutely insane to me. It hasn't fought since March of last year, right? Since Ngannou, yeah. March of last year. By the way, guys, if you want to become a member of the channel, support the channel. It's $3 a month. We got a bunch of custom emojis, loyalty badges. We got a members-only Discord chat where we've been rewatching pay-per-view fights. We're probably going to watch Adesanya versus Whitaker this weekend, the first fight. Not the live pay-per-view, but the past fight, just to watch it, and we all discuss it while we're watching it live. We get in a group there. And also I post a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff, what videos I'm working on, pictures of my setup, and we chat about all the news and stuff. And once you become a member, even for a month, you are forever in the members-only Discord. So, link is in the description. Volk fought in middleweight at one point, so I wouldn't put it past him at 155. My nose is itching terribly. Yeah, but middleweight, not in the UFC. That's a whole different ball game, In the UFC, it's a whole different ball game. All of Strickland losses are at 170. Yes, they are. Good evening, bro. That Hermansson has regressed is spot on. Why is my nose itching so bad all of a sudden? Thank you, Ginge, for agreeing with me. Hermansson is leaving the top 10 very soon to never come back. I want to see Kelvin Gastelum, make a. I know they gave him a tough fight against Nasruddin Imavov, but I really believe, I've talked about this plenty of times, I still think Kelvin Gastelum is one of the best in the world. I think Kelvin could beat Cannanier in a rematch. I think he arguably won the first fight. I think Gastelum maybe beats Derek Brunson. I probably wouldn't pick him against Costa. I think he could beat Jack Hermansson even though he got submitted by him. That fight was so quick. I think Kelvin beats Sean Strickland. I think Kelvin would beat Darren Till. I arguably think he beat him the first time they fought. And he's already beat Uriah Hall. So I really believe Gastelum's still great. And I would like to see him make a comeback because an Adesanya Gastelum rematch is a fight that I would love to see. Hermansson is the gatekeeper. Let's be honest. He never fights for the title. I agree with you in a way, French fries. But let's say he gets a big win against Sean Strickland. There's not a lot of options for that middleweight title. So he could be fighting for the title if he gets a big win over Sean Strickland this weekend. Vettori versus Hermansson was a week's notice. Hermansson was training for Holland until a tier strikers. I would expect his striking to look better where he can use his grappling a bit more versus Edmond. Was it now? Vettori versus Hermansson was on a week's notice. Hermansson was training for... You're right. Yeah, Vettori was supposed to fight Till. Vettori was supposed to fight Darren Till, and Holland was supposed to fight Hermansson. And somebody fell out. I don't remember who, and then they did Vettori versus Hermansson. Thank you for reminding me of that. Thoughts on the potential Chandler versus Ferguson matchup rumored a lot recently. We've actually talked about that a good bit, but I love the fight. A lot of people, when talking about Chandler versus Ferguson, say, "Oh, I don't like this fight. Tony Ferguson's going to get destroyed." I think that is absolutely insanity. I favor Tony Ferguson to win, and not only do I favor him to win, I'm pretty confident in it. I mean, I think it's a fun fight, but where are all these Michael Chandler, where did this hype train come from? The dude lost to Gaethje, the dude lost to Oliveira, and the guy beat Dan Hooker. And this is coming from a guy, I watched all Chandler's fights in Bellator. I love watching Chandler fight. I think he's a great fighter. I wanted to see him come to the UFC sooner than he did. But let's pump the brakes. Chandler's only ever beat Dan Hooker in the UFC. Look at Tony Ferguson. Look, I know he's lost 3 fights in a row, but look at the 3 guys he's lost to. Look at the 3 guys he's lost to. Now, if you think that Chandler wins, I think Chandler takes him down and grapples him the entire fight and wins the decision. I don't think Chandler goes out there and washes Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson can still compete at a high level. He's always had deficiencies in his takedown defense, his ability to be controlled on the ground. That's why you don't ever hear me crying, oh, we never got to see Habibi versus Tony. Long before Tony ever lost off that big win streak, I knew what was going to happen in that Habib fight, and I would have made a very confident prediction video. Habib would have ragdolled him to death and beat the living crap out of him on the ground. I mean, Danny Castillo did it, and Ferguson won by throwing elbows on the ground. I think it's a little bit sad that it never happened just because it's a fight that should have happened. But Tony can still compete with the highest level. It's just matchups make fights. Look at the level Charles Oliveira's at as far as his grappling. It's very good. Look at Beneil Dariush. Very good. Look at Justin Gaethje. Very good. Now, I picked Gaethje to beat him up. I picked Oliveira to beat him up. But I picked Tony to beat Beneil, I believe. No, I picked Beneil to beat Tony. I think. I'm trying to think. Did I? I think it's on this channel. No, I think I picked Tony to beat Beneil. So I picked Gaethje to beat Tony. I'd said it right the first time. I picked Gaethje to beat Tony. I picked Oliveira to beat Tony. And I picked Tony to beat Beneil. Because I just thought Tony had the far superior striking. So, unfortunately, you know, Beneil is the only one that I did not expect, Tony to lose to. So, and so for me, it doesn't mean all that much. It doesn't mean all that much for him to lose to those other 2 guys who are 2 of the best in the world. 2 of the best in the world. So everyone's picking, 78% are picking Volkanovski to beat. Why didn't that pop? Oh, there we go. Ginge, thank you for the super chat donation, man. I greatly appreciate it. Everything goes back into the channel. I appreciate it. I love seeing this little gift pop up right here. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Every dollar counts, and I greatly appreciate you. And that's a pound, I think it's called, right? It's a pound. So that's actually more than $1 US. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. Let me end this poll. 78% pick Volkanovski over Yair. So again, I think Tony Ferguson would. Michael Chandler might wrestle him for the first round, but after that, Chandler's going to get tired. Tony is going to stop him with volume and just brutalize him with standing elbows and weird techniques and Imanari rolls. And I think I would be very confident in picking Tony. But I've picked 2 out of the last 3 Tony fights right. I only picked wrong. I picked Tony to beat Beneil. I was actually surprised that Beneil beat him. But we know the blueprint on beating Tony Ferguson. Take him down and hold him down. Let's actually do a poll on that. Because I feel like everyone's picking Chandler. And I think Tony is he's not getting stopped by Chandler. I think Chandler's only way to win is to just grapple him and hold him down. And what's funny is I seen Chandler come out recently in an interview and say, you know, these fun fights are awesome and all these exciting fights, but I need to go to win. So to me, that sounds like I'm going to take Tony Ferguson down and hold him down for like my life depends on it. Sorry, guys, I'm falling behind on the chat, but just put your questions in the chat. I will answer them. I will get to them. I try to read them all while I can. The channel's growing as fast as I could ever imagine. So one day I'm not going to be able to read every chat, but today I'm still able to, and I'm going to. If I miss it, my apologies by some chance, because sometimes I might read it while I'm talking like this and then think I read it. Okay. His cardio did not regress in the Edmund fight. He was smashing him really bad in the third, was a dominant 10-8. I agree, but he did not look, he looked pretty tired in that second round, and he even got reversed on the ground. I think Edmund's cardio was just far worse. You know, it was only a 3-round fight, and he was getting tired in that second round. Mark my words, I rewatched it. I'm not saying he was completely gassed out. I'm not saying he's Conor McGregor in the second round of the Nate Diaz fight. But it just wasn't the same cardio I saw in the Marvin Vettori fight. I watched the fights back-to-back the other day. I don't like Chandler versus Ferguson. I want them both to win, man. True. Stipe is done, in my opinion. Aspinall will run through him. I think that's too early to say. Ginge, there's a problem with I think you figured it out. Thank you again. Darren Till isn't really top 5, top 10, maybe. I've talked about it before a million times. I think Darren Till's been vastly overrated for years. And that when you say a guy's overrated, that doesn't mean they suck. What's up, Usman Hussein? Had this happen before. Where is homework? Burns started training camp. Awesome. I'm sorry, but Aspinall is overrated right now. Hasn't even fought anyone in the top 15. Already getting Volk. If he beats Volk, the hype is real. But for right now, it's too early to tell for me. It looks promising, but still, I agree with you. I think Leon will touch up Usman and put him away. Can't wait for the juicy odds. I've said it before. Anyone that can keep the fight with Usman on the feet can win the fight. And Leon Edwards had decent grappling even when they fought way back when. Has only improved on it. It's all about cardio and fear of the takedown kind of freezing up the hands. But if Leon's a massive underdog, I'd take Leon just to see if he can make some money. I could probably beat Tony's ass at this point. He looks like an old man now, needs to hop on TRT. No. Joey, Tony hasn't had a meaningful win since 2017 and Kevin Lee, and even that has aged terribly. Come on, man. We can't with this revisionist history. The dude was blowing through guys. So what if some of these guys regressed? So the Donald Cerrone win was pretty solid at the time. I know it doesn't look that great now, but at the point he fought Donald Cerrone, let's take a look. Donald Cerrone was on a 3-fight winning streak against Mike Perry, Alexander Hernandez, and Ali Quinta. A decent win streak before he lost to Tony. Then you look at Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis was still good back then. You look at that loss. Ugh. Anthony Pettis just came off a win over Michael Chiesa. Let me move this out of the way. Other than that, he lost to Dustin Poirier. Win over not the greatest win in the Anthony Pettis win. Kevin Lee. Everyone was hyped on Kevin Lee. Rafael Dos Anjos was a solid win. That's probably his best win. Was the Rafael Dos Anjos. A lot of people thought Dos Anjos would go out there and out-grapple him. But either way, man, I get what you're saying, but still, I think Tony's still good. I just think he's fighting guys that are just looking to grapple him, and that's always been Tony's weakness. Chandler's just a ton of fun to watch, and maybe I'm biased because I've never seen Tony win a fight in the UFC, but I think Tony lose to Chandler pretty handedly. That's wild, man. That does suck. Tony in his prime, his elite prime of his prime, was one of the funnest fighters to watch ever. Wins from Warsh, Pettis, and Cerrone are basically worthless. And I don't think Cerrone was washed at that time. Easy to say now. Just looking back at it on paper, but live, that was one of the people's favorite fights, and I think that was pretty high on the card. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, that was featured fight on the main event, on the main card of a pay-per-view. It was a big fight at the time. So, you can talk about Conor's washed win over Donald Cowboy Cerrone when he was on like a 4-fight win streak. I don't think Pettis was completely washed at that point in time. Thanks again, Ginge. Tony is done. Top 15. You're delusional. We will see. Hopefully they book that Chandler fight, and we'll find out. Chandler's going to put Tony away in a coma, round 1 KO stuff. Hello, Joey and friends. What's up? 60-second. UFC Fight Night, Kai Kara France, Ascar on March will only be 9 minutes from home. How much would you spend on a ticket to a UFC event? For UFC 244, I spent $600 on the ticket, and I bought 2 tickets because me and my fiance went. But for a fight night, you could probably get good tickets for about $300. I spent about $300. And I would go, man. That's a good fight card. I know it sucks we lost Jan Blachowicz versus Alexander Rakic, but still. Chandler has such low fight IQ. Yeah, and also people forget. I mean, I watched pretty much every fight Michael Chandler had in Bellator. And the dude was getting his brains bashed in by Will Brooks, who came to the UFC and was just a total UFC washout. I mean, look at as much. I'm high on Michael Chandler. I think Michael Chandler is a great fighter. He beat Benson Henderson. When's the last time Michael Chandler's got a meaningful win? Please, guys, tell me. Go look at his resume right now. Somebody put in this chat, whoever was talking about Tony being washed, go tell me when the last time Michael Chandler had a meaningful win. Dan Hooker? Dan Hooker? Come on now. I know everyone loves Dan Hooker and he has an exciting style, but let's take a look at Dan Hooker's resume. Let's overanalyze Dan Hooker's resume. Dan Hooker has won one fight in his last 4, and it's against Nasrat, and it was by decision. Come on now. Come on now. Paul Felder, he won by split decision, could have easily lost that fight. He beat Ali Quinta. What does that mean? He beat James Vick. James Vick has a worse jaw than Luke Rockhold and, Chris Weidman put together. And then he lost to Edson Barboza. Dan Hooker, people act like he's so good. And I think he's a quality fighter. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit on him. But when's the last time Chandler had a meaningful win? He loses to Gaethje. He loses to Oliveira. He beats Dan Hooker. But again, we just talked about Dan Hooker. He beat Benson Henderson. Look at where Benson Henderson is in his career. Oh, he beat Sidney Outlaw. That was a great win, right? Then he loses to Patricio Pitbull. Gets TKO'd. Brett Primus, okay, decent win. Brandon Gertz, or Gritz, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Let me say. Gertz, no, it's Gertz. Yamayuchi, I think is how you pronounce it. Lost to Brett Primus. I think that was when he had the leg issue. A split decision win over Benson Henderson. Patricky Pitbull wins by KO back in 2016. So for me, it's been 6 years. 6 years since Michael Chandler's last notable win. And I know people are going to say Dan Hooker, but come on now. He lost to Will Brooks twice in a row. One by TKO, one by the decision. Lost to Eddie Alvarez. Come on now. Chandler has not an awful resume, but you get my point. We can sit here and kind of pick apart anyone in a way, We can pick apart anyone. But let's continue. Let's continue with the questions. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. Chandler has such a low fight IQ. Gus versus Ben at heavyweight. Love that fight. I think Gus wins, by the way, if I didn't answer that earlier. To be honest, Tony fought Cowboy before Conor did. Exactly. And it was far before. I think Cowboy got stopped 1 or 2 more times after the Tony fight, and then Conor fought him. If Tony goes more than 2.5 rounds, Tony's still a legend, can pull this off. If there's heavy odds against Tony Ferguson in that Chandler fight, I don't even bet, and I'm putting money on Tony Ferguson. How many UFC events have you been to live? I've been to 3. No, wait. Yeah, 3. I went to UFC 172, John Jones versus Glover Teixeira. Stacked card. I think Max Holloway was on the prelims. UFC 244, which was Masvidal versus Diaz. Stacked card. Got to see Johnny Walker get slept. Got to see Gregor Gillespie get slept by Kevin Lee. And I went to Alistair Overeem versus Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Dan Hooker would beat Tony's ass at this point? Absolutely not. But maybe. Drop a like for your boy. Thank you, Darren Holmes, and thank you for being a member. Dan Hooker is 1 win away from a title shot. Lamau, stop. By the way, let's not underrate Chandler's losses. He had let Olives up. He probably would have TKO'd him very easily. He was winning the Gaethje fight until he decided to spaz out and throw tornado kicks. Yeah, man, I feel like we can play revisionist history with a lot of stuff. At the end of the day, he lost. So, it's one of those things. Yo, don't forget Hooker beat Gilbert Burns in 2018. Hooker, oh yeah, that was. Let's take a look. When was that? Let's take a look. Yep, July of 2018, KO's Gilbert Burns. That's a decent win. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit on Dan Hooker. I'm just saying you can play this game with a lot of guys. You can absolutely play this game. I'm sick of people. Tony Ferguson has lost to the 3 best guys. 3 of the best guys in the division. You look at Justin Gaethje fighting for a title. And, the other guy he lost to, Beneil Dariush, he's in a title eliminator. And then the other guy he lost to is the champion. Look at the guys he's lost to. Tony Ferguson's losing to the best. Tony Ferguson has lost to the best. The current champion, he lost to the guy that's now the number 1 contender fighting for the belt. And the other guy that he lost to is in a number 1 contender fight. Come on, guys. We have to look at it objectively. I think Tony Ferguson can beat Chandler. If Chandler wins, he takes him down and holds him down. And also, whoever Tony's manager is, needs to only book him 5-round fights. I don't know why they're getting Tony Ferguson 3-round fights. Tony Ferguson's main strength is his stamina. Why are we not getting him 5-round fights? I don't get it. Looked like he broke his hands in the third, most likely. Who are we talking about there? You're not looking into Tony's performance quality in those recent losses. He has nothing to offer his opponent whatsoever. Chandler has at least had Charles in danger. Come on. Quality of his performances. Yeah, but he's always had a problem with wrestlers. Look at his career. Look at Danny Castillo. He's always been able to be taken down and controlled. So, but we'll see, man. We'll see. If he gets wrecked by Michael Chandler, gets KO'd on the feet, I'll be with you after that. You know, but until then, I still think he's lost to the best, and I still think he has an opportunity. I think Chandler doesn't have the greatest cardio. I think Chandler, throws too much power and is too reckless, has a low fight IQ. And I think Tony Ferguson has a granite chin. Tony Ferguson has crazy stamina. I think he's a good matchup to beat Michael Chandler. And I hope they put it together. I hope they do. Because I want Tony Ferguson to prove a lot of you guys wrong. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There's a lot of people who will sit on the fence even when they think another way. Don't get me wrong. There's my fair share. I think this is a 50-50 fight, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of people who will sit here and sit on the fence for fear of being wrong. I will always tell you my honest opinion. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll sit here and talk about, I was really confident in this. I talked about it with Cody Garbrandt versus Kai Kara France. I was fairly confident that Cody Garbrandt would beat Kai Kara France. Now, I know there was the X factor of the chin, the regressed weight, going down to 125. But I thought Cody Garbrandt was the superior fighter. I thought Kai Kara France is not going to be able to wrestle him. I thought Cody Garbrandt was the better boxer. And I told you guys, I was confident in that prediction. I was dead wrong. Some people will just sit on the fence and say, this is a close fight. I would lean this way, just so they don't ever have to say, I was wrong. I don't care. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion. I was confident in Charles Oliveira over Michael Chandler. Almost was wrong on that one, but I was not. So we'll see. We'll see. But enough for Tony Ferguson. Let's move on, see what the next questions are. Okay, more Tony Ferguson Chandler questions. By the way, guys, if you have not liked the stream yet, run up the likes on the stream. It helps push it out to more people. And keep putting questions in the chat. That's what I appreciate the most. Questions in the chat. Chandler will trounce Ferguson. Ferguson taking too many shots and his wrestling isn't good. He's content to lay on his back, which is a bad combo against a guy like Chandler. But Chandler's cardio isn't that great. So we'll continue. Every fighter has a chance. Chandler should show that one-punch shot that beat Hooker. Yeah, but Tony Ferguson has a granite chin. Do you think obese fighters should be allowed to fight in the UFC due to risk of heart failure? I don't know, man. I mean, if they have skills, then sure. Why shouldn't they be able to fight? Roy Nelson was knocking dudes dead, and I guess he would be considered obese. So there you go. What's up? Hold on. What's up, Joey? What do you think of the Dariush versus Makhachev card? What's up, Carter Tracy? Appreciate you coming to the stream. I do these every Wednesday. Let's look up the card. I don't remember what else is on that card, even though we looked at it probably last week in the stream. Let's take a look. You got Ryan Spann versus Ian Cutelaba in the co-main. That's a fun fight, not a greatly important fight. You got Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Marcin Tybura. That's a decent, fun heavyweight fight. Arman Tsarukyan versus Joel Alvarez. Terrence McKinney versus Farziem. I think it's how you pronounce his name. It's a solid card. Nothing spectacular by any means, but there's a lot of quality matchups that I enjoy in this card. My favorite fight outside the main event is Arman Tsarukyan versus Joel Alvarez. I think that fight will be a lot of fun. You got Ignacio Bahamondes versus Zhu Rong. I'm assuming Arman Tsarukyan versus Joel Alvarez will be on the main card. That's a great fight. I think that belongs in the co-main event, but you never know until it actually happens. So I think it's a solid fight night card. I can't complain too much about the card. I'm always into an important, relevant fight over, this one's definitely going to be exciting. 67% pick Michael Chandler to beat Tony Ferguson. 67%, guys. So it looks like I did not sway any of you guys to the other side. If you want to get a one last minute vote on Tony Ferguson, go vote on Tony Ferguson. Bring them percentages up for me. You're overrating current Tony and underrating Chandler and Hooker. Okay. We'll find out, hopefully. Who would Khamzat struggle more with, Usman or Izzy? probably Izzy, but it's hard to say. Can you want to do a poll on is Tony done? Yes, I will in a minute. I will in a minute. As soon as we get, come on, fill up the Tony. Go vote for Tony. I mean, Beneil's pretty overrated. You could pick his resume apart too. Exactly. You can do it with a lot of people. I'm just giving you my personal opinion. Of just, it's different when you look at it on paper, but then a lot of times if you watch the fights and you remember them pretty vividly. Beneil is a KO artist. Yeah, dude, he KO'd Jakar Close. Tony has been getting dominated in his losses. Chandler make it competitive until he gets tired. Compare their fights with Oliveira. Now, this is probably your worst take. Hank Hill. If we get to see Tony versus Chandler and Tony wins, I expect you to come back in here and tell me you were wrong. Tell me you were wrong. I'll be glad to tell you I was wrong. I won't be glad because I'll be sad. But I want you to come back in this chat and let me know that you were wrong if that does happen. Chandler's stock went up with a loss against Justin. Huh? I don't think it really should have, to be quite honest. That was a terrible performance. I know it was fun. Low fight IQ, got clipped up quite a bit. Third round was boring. It was a great fight still, don't get me wrong. Izzy will get destroyed by Hamza. Usman might give a little issues. UFC is Ferguson dirty on this one. I got 100. It says Tony is going to be taking the voices into his wall at home of his home after the Gaethje shuts him off. Yeah, I wish they'd do Tony Ferguson versus Nate Diaz. Who wins at 185 if they fight? If they were to ever fight, Strickland or Holland? I'll probably go Holland. I think Holland has the better striking, and I don't think Strickland's going to try to grapple him. Do you think a retired fighter could beat an active smaller fighter? For example, Bisping versus Poirier. Let's say the fight was tomorrow, no preparation. I'd probably pick Poirier because Poirier's probably training while Bisping's probably not. DC is the greatest man of all time. He's the chunky goat for sure. What's crazy is looking at DC and then looking at Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou. Let's see. Hank, okay, you're talking to him. If the UFC lets Francis go, who fights for the belt in January? Why in January? If Francis goes, I think they make Stipe versus Jones for the vacant title. If for some reason Jones is unable, they'll probably make Stipe versus Cyril for the title. Did you enjoy Strickland's media day? And he one of your favorite fighters since he's relatable. I did not watch Strickland's media day, and no, he's not one of my favorite fighters. I think he's kind of weird, but to each their own. Our man got exposed in his last fight, picking Joel. I don't care. Okay, Tony will have Chandler with his tiramisu. Tony has a good chin. If that's the only thing you can say about his recent fights, then he's in trouble. But yeah, but he has unbelievable cardio too. Unbelievable cardio, unorthodox striking. He's cutting dudes up with elbows. Do you think Bader beats Congo? Yes, Bader beats Congo. I've been meaning to join. Probably will when I get home from the gym. Okay. How did our man get exposed his last fight? There you go. Answer the question. You're asking him. I don't know. Chandler versus Volkanovski at 145. I take Volkanovski all day. Let me do this poll that Ginge wanted. Anything for you, Ginge? Let's see. Is Tony Ferguson done? Let's see. I see you, Hank. Do what you got to do. Okay. Apparently Darren is convincing Hank to join or something. Appreciate you. What do you mean by will you become a member or stay in the cult? What does that mean? You got to explain that to me. One second. Okay, answer that. I'm lost. He slept him. Francis' contract ends in January. Yeah, well, the UFC is gonna if they can't come to terms, the UFC will probably strip him of the belt before then. Francis, okay, because yeah, they'll make a title before they'll know long before then. Joe, it's never too late to join the Strickland wave. Okay, we out here. Do you think Aspinall beats Volkov? I'm praying he does. Do you think Aspinall beats Volkov? I'm praying he does. I'll probably go with, I don't know, man. That's a tough fight. That's a tough fight. I'm probably going with Volkov. But I think either guy can win. I don't trust Volkov's chin all that much. That's a tough one. I think that fight's 50-50, man. The more I think about it. But right now, off the top of my head, gun to my head, who wins? I say Volkov. But Aspinall is powerful and very fast, athletic. So, okay. Unfortunately, I think Tony's done. 69% has already said Tony's done. Come on, guys. Do you think Holly wins by decision or TKO? I think Holly wins by decision. It's going to be a terribly boring fight. Done or just done in the top 15, because that's a big difference. Done. Done forever. Hey, Joey, you a good man. You good man. Thank you, Drunken Boxing MMA. Appreciate you. Lamar Gunn versus Francis showed me a lot. DC probably still out-wrestles everyone at heavyweight. Okay. I think DC probably beats Cyril Gahn for sure. John Jones versus Izzy at 195. Who would win? John Jones would wreck him at any weight. Hot take. Cody actually has a decent chin. It's just that he has such bad defense, boxing fundamentals that he gets chipped directly on the chin. Great recovery. Okay. Gustafsson loses. It's too big. Rockwell. To Ben Rothwell, he should retire. Agreed. Thoughts on UFC trying to push Usman versus Adesanya? I don't understand this, to be honest. UFC assuming they both win their next fights. I would love to see that fight, and I'm glad you brought that up because I do have that in the title of the video. Kamaru Usman versus Israel Adesanya. Somebody told me recently that they're kind of casual friends. They're not like crazy friends, but apparently they don't want to fight each other because they're both African champions. I would love to see that fight, and I think that would be a ginormous fight. I don't know how big. For me, and I'm curious what you guys would pick, I think I'd go Israel Adesanya. I think he's going to have trouble taking him down. I think that Adesanya is going to light him up on the feet. So I think they should do it. I think Usman's getting to a point where he's getting up there in age. But I don't know, man, because if he beats Leon and Khamzat beats Burns, Khamzat might be a bigger fight. So Usman's got huge fights ahead of him if he beats Leon Edwards. Because he can either take the Israel Adesanya fight if he beats Robert Whittaker. That's a huge fight. Or if Khamzat beats Burns, that's a huge fight. If I'm Usman, if I'm laying out career, if I'm Usman, I'm confident, I'm healthy, 100%. I beat Leon Edwards. I beat not Hermansson. I beat Khamzat Chimaev, and then I move up and fight Israel Adesanya, and then retire, win or lose, retire. I mean, those last two fights will be big money fights in my opinion. I think Khamzat, especially if he beats Burns, will be a massive pay-per-view. All right, 73% think Tony Ferguson's done. If Chandler smokes Ferguson, Tony, then maybe he's done. Agreed. Any thoughts on Brian Battle versus Tresean Gore? Share, I saw your comment. I'm going to try to do a quick prediction video after this. I'll hopefully have it out tonight. It's not going to be super long. I talked about it in the beginning of the stream just because there's not a lot of history of both guys. But I'm going to try to do a prediction video for you. It's not going to be a super long prediction video. Should the UFC cut Brendan Allen if he loses to old man Alvey? Probably. I'm utterly shocked you have so much faith in Tony Ferguson. I'm just honest, man. Thoughts on Alex Pereira versus Bruno Silva? I tapped this a few hours ago. I thought Pereira was overhyped, but man, this is good. Like, seriously. I think Alex Pereira beats him. Bruno Silva was getting pieced up in his last fight anyway, but that's a fun fight. What happened to Dominic Reyes? Too much damage. He should be back soon, from what I understand. Should have a fight booked soon. Joey, did you hit that Aljo money line? No, and I will not. I'm not a big bettor, but I also don't believe Aljo wins. What does Strickland have to do Saturday to make you a believer? There's nothing he can do. If he goes out there and flatlines Jack Hermansson, I'm not going to be a believer in Sean Strickland. Allen isn't as good as you think he is. A lot of people hyped him up. Agreed. Who should Yoel fight next? Rumble Johnson. I want Yoel Romero versus Anthony Rumble Johnson. I got the wrong fighter when I started, man. I got some clarification into the matter. Okay. Imagine if Jan said he would fight Stipe because the response would not be the same. Yeah, very true. The African champ thing is such a cop-out. Neither one of them was raised in Nigeria, and they only met each other a few times. Also, Hamzat runs through both of them. I mean, it could be true. You don't know what they're thinking. Other than that, what are they both scared of each other? They could just say, you know what? I'd rather have us both as champions rather than go up and beat someone. Or maybe they just, maybe Usman doesn't want to go up because then he's got to defend the belt. Maybe he's more comfortable at 170. So if they both don't want it for the belt, would the UFC make Adesanya? That'd be stupid. Catchweight would be absolutely stupid. I would be so pissed if they did that. Usman's career was disappointing. I disagree. Usman has a lot of great wins. Look at those 2 fights with Colby. Great fights. First one more exciting than the second one. Stopping Gilbert Burns. Stopping Jorge Masvidal. 50-45 and Jorge Masvidal. Usman, okay, none of these African champions live in Africa. Francis is the only one who goes back. That's not accurate, but okay. Usman said he would fight his brother Izzy. Said he won't fight. Okay, I'm fine with it. I'd rather see if he go. Look, you guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys are never gonna be happy anyway, because if Usman goes and fights Israel Adesanya, you know what a lot of you guys are gonna say? You're gonna say he's ducking Khamzat Chimaev. He's ducking That's gonna be. I'd rather see Usman stay at 170 and fight Khamzat. I'm telling you right now, Usman versus Khamzat is more appealing to me personally than Usman versus Ottasanya. So let's actually do a poll on that. Let's do a poll on that. Let's do a poll on that. Which would you rather see? Let's check that one out. Usman versus Adesanya. Usman, what is that? Let's see. GT Share, thank you for becoming a member, my friend. Greatly appreciate you. If you get on Discord, we have a members-only Discord chat where we talk about stuff all the time. I put behind-the-scenes stuff. Appreciate you joining and becoming a member, my friend. And I also have some exclusive live streams I do. The replays are only available to the members. So thank you for supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate you, my friend. And I love seeing that Aldo gift pop up. Now I got to get back to this poll. First, Khamzat. And you guys know it's true. If he moved up to fight Adesanya, they'd be like, of course he moved up. He's ducking Khamzat. Okay, so let's go do that. Darren, stop it. I'm reading your message. Khamzat claps all 4 of their cheeks. Okay. I think Edwards wins. Joey, would you ever go on Contender Series? No, I would not. What would be next for Adesanya and Usman if they both lose their fights? That is a great question, Niles. That is a very good question, Niles. What would be next for Adesanya and Usman if they both lose their next fights? If Adesanya loses to Whitaker, they do a trilogy. If Usman loses to Leon, he either retires or they do a trilogy as well. Because Leon and Usman fought originally, Usman beat him. So I think Usman would get a rematch. And I think that'd be the biggest fight they could do at that point in time. But there's a chance if Leon beats Usman badly and Khamzat beats Burns, they skip over Usman. Not skip over him, but they forego the immediate rematch and let Khamzat fight Leon. Which I think would be a lot of fun, especially with the backstory that they were booked to fight 3 times. And now Leon Edwards wins the title. And the law of averages say eventually Usman's got to lose. He's getting up there in age. He's had a bunch of fights. He's bound to lose eventually. How do you feel about Vicente saying he will never fight Burns? They're best friends. I'm fine with that. Refusing to fight someone because you share a nationality with seems Brazilian. Brazilians always do that. They don't say it out loud, but it's true. The Brazilians don't like to fight each other. Are you high on David beating Benitez? Now, I have to look more into that. Do you want Raging Out to retire? He already did. Thank you again, GTZ Share, for becoming a member. Izzy won't take the Usman fight. Too much risk. I don't think that's the case. I think Izzy would take that fight. I mean, he took the Ian fight. I think Yan fight is more risky than Usman. Usman is ducking Khamzat every time they bring him up in an interview. Usman talks about retirement. That's not an exaggeration. It would not surprise me. I'm surprised Usman isn't talking about him because Khamzat's the biggest fight right now for welterweight. I'd like to see Khamzat fight Usman and Adesanya. Imagine Khamzat beats Burns, gets the title shot, beats Usman. To be honest, I'd be all for him moving right up and fighting Ottasanya. As crazy as that sounds. Usman versus Ottasanya will never happen. They are boys. What's next for Zombie after his loss in his title fight? Maybe as a beat fight. I would love that. Khamzat is going to pick Burns up, throw him down, and choke him out. I doubt the last part, but maybe he's going to pick him up and throw him down. I think Khamzat wins it by striking, to be quite honest. Immediate rematch, 100%, unless Khamzat says he already beat him. Okay. Yan fight wasn't risky. His title wasn't on the line. Yeah, but to take a loss against a bigger guy, and Yan had nasty power. Yan could slap him, change his career trajectory forever. Brazilians do it all the time. True. Thank you, Cyber, for backing me up. Me and Cyber disagree a lot, respectfully, but thank you for backing me up on that one. That one's very true. Brazilians do not like to go against other Brazilians. I'm trying to think. I think it was... Stop it. I think it was Anderson versus Damian Maia. They didn't want to fight each other. I can't remember. That might be wrong, though. Can't wait for Usman and Izzy to both lose. Both blatant steroid cheats. Khamzat will be double champ within 3 years. Okay, man. A little bit, I think a little bit crazy, but okay. Joe, do you think you could beat Chase Hooper if you trained it for a fight ready for a couple months? Now, I had to go to Tiger Muay Thai. I had to go to Tiger Muay Thai and train with Piotr Yan, Rafael Fiziev, and Khamzat Chimaev. And then I could. Luque versus Chimaev will be for the belt in 2023. That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. Joey, what's going on? I can't stop urinating. I think, what is going on here? Guys, keep filling the chat with questions. We'll go. I usually go about an hour and 15 to an hour and a half. We appreciate you guys. You guys have been submitting a lot of questions, so continue to submit the questions in the chat. Imagine if Khamzat loses to Burns, man. The hype is it going to die right there? Is it going to die right there? Damian and Anderson were friends. That's why their fight sucks so bad. Does Cowboy beat Joe? Man, you just love these questions. Yes, he does. Probably beats me. But if Khamzat beats Burns, beats Usman, I want to see him go right up and fight Adesanya. It's crazy that we're even talking like this, considering he hasn't even beat anyone in the top 10. That's wild. But the Burns fights definitely happen. I think it's early April, UFC 273. Or it's going to be a fight night main event end of March. But I think they already have that booked out. If Usman beats Leon and Khamzat beats Burns, Usman retires unless the money goes up. Then retires. What do you think? If Usman retires, if Usman beats Leon and then Khamzat beats Burns and Usman retires, that's going to be a big hit to his legacy. People will never stop saying that he ran from Khamzat Chimaev. And, you know, it's not going to be a good look because Usman said, oh, I want to fight Nick Diaz. I want to fight Jorge Masvidal multiple times, you know. But when you actually get a big money fight that's super competitive and compelling against Khamzat, you retire, would be a terrible look. Cerrone would lose to Court McGee at this point. Would you ever go on a field trip with John Jones in Vegas? No. I don't want to get arrested. Who does Gane fight next? Curtis Blades. I think Gane fights Curtis Blades. I also have a video on that in New Mexico. I did a Cyril Gane matchmaker video right after UFC 270. I want to see Diaz as a champ. That'd be hilarious, dude. Nick or Nate Diaz. I mean, it would only have to be Nate at this point, but I don't think it's possible. Nate Diaz as the UFC champion would be hilarious. Do you think Cop Giles is almost done in the UFC? It's too early to say, I think. Maybe, though. Maybe. See, look, 80% want to see Usman versus Khamzat. Usman versus Khamzat is the fight to make. Usman has the most overrated legacy, only defended against lightweights, and his only non-former welterweight defense is against Colby, who walks around less heavy than light. Come on, man. We're always picking apart. He fought everyone that everyone wanted to see him fight. People wanted to see him fight Colby. People wanted to see him fight Jorge Masvidal. People were saying Jorge Masvidal was going to starch him. People were saying Colby was going to beat him. People were saying Burns was going to beat him. He went out there and fought everyone they asked him to fight, and it was top contenders. He was the most active welterweight. Can you pick it apart? Yes. But if Usman goes to beat Leon and then beats Khamzat, I think his legacy is sealed as the greatest. So, you can go through and pick anyone's legacy apart. Usman does not want to fight Khamzat. Thoughts on the idea of Usman fighting at 205? It's just a joke. I don't think he really means that. Usman's just saying that. He said it in some interview just to kind of hype himself up. It means absolutely nothing. Is Conor going to fight Diaz when he returns? Probably. It's either going to be Diaz or Ferguson. Do you think fighters should be allowed to beat up civilians at random if they get a fighter's license? No. Do you drink Proper 12 or Pink Whitney? No. I don't drink at all, actually. New York Giants, I do not drink at all. So there you go. You learn something new about me every day, huh? Usman has rematches that aren't even deserves fake legacy running from Khamzat. Khamzat has not even earned a title shot yet, Hank Hill. We cannot say he's running from Khamzat. If he does, I'll be the first to call it out. People wanted to fight Masvidal the second fight, or was that free legacy? No, the reason Masvidal got a rematch is because that was the first UFC event back with fans, and the UFC wanted to make sure they had a big main event to sell out an arena. Because the last thing the UFC and Dana wanted was like a half an arena sold out. So that's why they made Masvidal, because Masvidal's big in Florida. And also Masvidal's a pretty big star. So that's why. But I thought that was free legacy. I thought Masvidal was going to get wrecked again. I think I might have predicted by decision, but I'm not 100% sure. That's one of the first pay-per-view prediction videos I did on the channel. So I can actually prove that one. I had no desire to see that fight. But Usman went out there and starched him. Nobody thought he was going to do that. The GOAT conversation isn't decided by level of guys you beat, but how great you were for the time. GSP is so ahead of the time. He beat 3 generations of fighters at their own game 80% of the time. Okay. The body of work, I think, is the most important for me. Usman is scared shitless of Khamzat after he watched Hermansson thrashing. Okay. Okay. I don't know where we're getting that from, but the first time I see evidence of it, I will be the first to be saying it on the channel. You guys know me. I don't care about any backlash. I will say what I see. The people picking Chandler have Dana White privilege? Yes. Does Dana White have his own? No. I don't, dude, I can't even talk about that. I'm so tired of the MMA media giving this guy airtime. It's so annoying. So even though I'm a small channel, I'm not even going to say that guy's name. It's getting annoying to me. Guys, if you haven't already liked the stream, get the stream to 30 likes. Come on, guys. I hate asking for a specific number, but I would appreciate you guys if you did like the stream, get it up to 30 likes, and also subscribe to the channel right this very second. Right this very second if you're not. Usman talks about retiring anytime Khamzat is mentioned. Okay. I do find it a little bit suspicious. While we're talking about it, I do find it very suspicious that Usman has never mentioned Khamzat by name. By the way, Fast, how are we doing? I saw that. I read it while I was talking, and now I realized that I forgot to actually read it aloud. So I'm doing well. How are you doing, Fast? I know it's freezing cold in Canada. Thank you for being a member. Appreciate you, man, very much. I just saw you pop up in the chat again, so that's what reminded me of it, that I read that and then forgot to read it aloud. Usman talks, okay, Nick versus George for a meaningless belt. I will watch. I don't want a meaningless belt. Let them fight. They don't need a meaningless belt. Constantly growing. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for coming to the live chat. Holly Holm versus Vieira is going to be a fight of the year. Stop it. Stop it, bro. You're just trolling me at this point. You're just trolling me. Absolutely trolling me at this point. People say fighters are better now, so less title defenses are needed, but that would also be the case for champions. GSP beat Shields, who dominated Woodley, and Hendricks, who dominated Robbie twice. Okay. Jake, stand up for fighter play, and you can't even speak to him. Looks like Dana living rent free. No, I didn't. I'm the first to... Dude, I've literally talked about fighter pay multiple times. My problem with the name that shall not be mentioned in this live stream is he does not actually care. What has he actually done? I can tweet out some stuff about fighter pay. I can buy stock in WME myself, Endeavor. I can buy stock. Oh, I'm going to change it from the inside. Until I see actual, real, tangible things, I'm not going to sit here and pretend he's changing the sport, because I don't believe that he is. He's changing the sport about as much as I am. So what is going on? What I believe, my conspiracy theory is that thou who should not be named is losing. People are not caring about him as much as they once were. So I believe he keeps attacking Dana. I'm the first to attack Dana myself. I've talked about him a million times about the negative things that he has done. I'll be the first to applaud good matchmaking or good UFC decisions. But he's just using it for MMA media attention. He needs the MMA media as well as the MMA fans to buy his pay-per-views to be relevant. And that's the reason he's talking like this. I don't believe he actually cares. So when he actually does something, I'll applaud him. Other than that, okay. Do you want to fight for the MMA media strap? No. Usman acts like Hamza is Voldemort. Well, I'm acting like that YouTuber is Voldemort because, I've talked about him enough, man. I just feel like he's looking for clout. That's it. That's all. And I know I'm nobody. I have 2,000 subscribers on my channel, a growing channel. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not some big thing. But this guy just wants attention. The current generation, the current generation's kind of sucks. Prime Usman and Anderson beat Usman and Izzy. Prime Usman and Anderson. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Prime Usman and Anderson beats Usman and Izzy. You mean Prime GSP and Anderson beat Usman and Izzy? I would actually agree with that, probably. He paid $100K to a woman MMA fighter once. He's a savior. Okay. Talks about fighter pay, but only paid Tommy $15K on his fight on his undercard. He literally gave Sarah Alpar $5,000. Oh, you're right. Let's hail to him. $5,000 for a guy that has millions. He's doing it to troll. He does not really care. He's doing it to troll. He's doing it for media attention. And I actually have a conspiracy theory. I think he's paying Ariel Helwani to promote him. He knows Ariel Helwani's the biggest voice. Without the MMA fans, he is nothing. Nobody's buying his pay-per-views without the MMA fans. Are you older than Blanchfield? Not sure. Thank you, Birdie. Exactly. He doesn't give an F. He just hates Dana. If Dana said he was a good boxer a year ago, he lost. Exactly. He has no clout with Toss Nail with a 40-year-old Dana. He needs a... Yeah, he's just attacking Dana. And I'm not one of these people that's just mindlessly defending Dana. I don't like when people do that. But he's just attacking Dana to get clout. That's it. If you can't see that, you don't know. Joey, what's up, Chrissy? Strickland sucks. Okay, take shelter. Vlad wins MMA media strap. Yes, he does. His impressions are amazing. It's smart. MMA community like him only now because they hate Dana. If fighter pay is so bad, why does everyone sign the damn contract? Because of a monopoly, my friend. So I think it's a little more complicated than that, my friend. Meant GSP. Any matches coming up that excite you? Any matchups that come up that are exciting you? For me, I want Jones versus Ngannou. But I'm particularly excited for Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. I'm particularly excited to see Shavkat Rakhmonov fight Carlston Harris this Saturday. There's a lot of fights that excite me. Off the top of my head, there's a couple for you. Is it trolling? More people are talking about pay than ever before. I don't know. People have been talking about fighter pay for literally years. And talking about it amounts to about nothing. So, there's not any real tangible things. Ariel Slimy, Little Weasel, he probably does pay him for... I'm telling you, I think he does. I wanted to make a video about it, but I have no evidence of it. So, it's like kind of weird if I make a video about it. I would just be talking, just... I don't know what I would say exactly, but I thought about doing it. There is something that I could link to it, the reason why I think, but I'll save that in case I do make a video of it. Nah, Ariel's just, he hates Dana and probably tag teaming with Jake. Yeah, of course. That is another reason. That is another reason Ariel hates Dana just like Dana hates him. But I'm not one of these people, these shills, that are just these fans that are just defending Dana no matter what. I'm not one of those people. I actually appreciate thou who should not be mentioned for going at Dana. And he's made me like him a little bit more just for going at Dana. But the people who are pretending he's saving the sport of MMA, I think are overreaching quite a bit. What the hell is going on here? GSP still can't fight out his contract. Lamau wasting away the last bit of fighting spirit. I think most fighters are overpaid. No one cares about MMA other than MMA fans. Ask a random person on the street. They'd look at you crazy if you ask them who Piotr Jan is. I disagree, man. I guess disagree. These events are bringing in millions of dollars. Whether exactly they're all drawing it in. I don't think anyone should only be getting paid, what is it, 6 and 6? 6 to show up, 6 to win. I think that's a little low. I think you should at least be making 20 grand a fight regardless. Hamzat and Dana emoji. Does Kevin Holland win his next fight at welterweight? I think he does, but it's going to be a fun fight against Alex Oliveira. Do you think Jan, the strawweight, will look much better in her next fight since she's training with Barber? Hold on, now I'm confused. I'm seeing this. I see what 60 seconds saying. Hopefully it stops doing that. Maybe it's because I was doing this over here. Sorry about that. No, I do not. I think if you're talking about Yan Xiaonan, I think that she loses her next fight to Marina Rodriguez. Joey, your camera is blurring out, switching between your face and your mouth. I think it's because I was leaning over here. Sorry about that. Alex's War show Kevin Holland wins. Agreed. Put the sport on the map. Okay, 6-6 is not a thing. The minimum is 12K. So it's 12 and 12. Still, 12 is too low. 12 is too low. Should be at least 20K guaranteed per fight, I think. But I'm just throwing out numbers. This is just off the top of my head. I don't know. Yeah, I disagree. When you look at how much the UFC makes, most guys are up for a raise. Yeah, if you look at it, so for me personally, this has always been my opinion. You always bring up fighters pay. I respect you. You open your mind a bit. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I'm always talking about fighter pay. So, for example, the talk of Francis Ngannou. Okay, this is a good example. Lee versus Sanchez hasn't happened yet. Now, that doesn't happen until like March, I think. So, for example, Francis Ngannou, right, had his pay-per-view. Let's just say, hypothetically, it did 250,000 buys, which we don't know. It could be much more than that, but it's at least that. That pay-per-view, just from pay-per-view sales, generated almost $19 million, okay? $19 million. That's not including the live gate. So if you include the live gate, I don't know what it is, but my guess is $5 to $6 million. So let's just call it $25 million. $25 million the UFC made, only if they sold 250,000 pay-per-views, which I believe they sold much more than that. They made $25 million, right? The entire payroll of UFC 270, including every fighter on the card, Ngannou, Gane, Moreno, Figgy, made less than $2 million? I think it was. I think it was like 1.7 million, 1.8 million. That is insane. That is insane. That is too low. I believe you are a product of what you generate. And then I believe there should be a bare minimum. I'm not even one of these people. There's some people who are just insisting it needs to be 50-50. I'm not even insisting that. UFC does a lot of promotion. UFC, builds a lot of these fighters up. I don't even think it should be 50-50. But it has to be more than 5%. It has to be more than 5%. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. And I know they built themselves, where UFC is kind of the only promotion. I know there's more promotions, but they're the only promotion that sells big. So it kind of sucks because they can't really go anywhere else. But come on, we can do better than that. We can do better than less than 5%. Just for comparison, the UFC only needed to sell 26,000 pay-per-views to cover the entire payroll of UFC 270. I did the math the other day. Ridiculous. Let's see. I missed the Eagle FC. I told you that didn't happen yet. Prelim make less than 12 and 12. I've been offered 8 and 8. Okay. We're here to take over. Okay. Do you have any predictions for that fight? No. Yeah, Kevin Lee's going to start him. That fight should not be put on. What will you do when you attend your next UFC event? Interview fighters and ask questions? You need a media pass for that, man. I won't be able to get that. I won't be able to. UFC won't give me a media pass. If I can get a media pass, I'd go to the next event right now. First fighter you would like to interview? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Who would I like to interview? There's so many great fighters and so many fun interviews. I wouldn't mind a Piotr Jan, but the language barrier. Volkanovski, Max Holloway would be fun. I'd love to interview Usman and ask him about Khamzat Chimaev. The Ngannou card. Hold on, what will you... Okay. The Ngannou card only sold 200K. Imagine being the most powerful KO freak in the sport and not being able to sell anything. Ngannou only has itself to blame. I don't buy it. I don't buy it, Hank Hill. That pay-per-view did more than 200K. I'm telling you flat out right now, I bet my life on it. The UFC can pay out pay-per-view prices, but not fighter pay. Exactly. You can go get your ass kicked in a higher skill but lesser known ONE FC for more money, like Alvarez, Mighty Mouse, and Northcutt. Okay, there you go. Ngannou doesn't generate anything. I don't buy that at all. That pay-per-view did over 300,000 buys. I bet my life on it. I've been offered a contract and it was 8-8. Okay, how much do you think refs and concession staff and UFC staff, event staff make? I have no idea. How do you even get a media pass? I don't know. You have to apply it online somehow. But you have to be with a legitimate like media outlet like MMA Fighting or MMA Junkie to get a media pass. From what I understand. Interview O'Malley. That would be my dream first interview. Sean O'Malley would be my dream first interview. For sure. For 100% certainty. Okay, guys. We're going to go for a couple more minutes. We just hit the 1.5 hour mark. If you have any final questions, leave them in the chat. If you want to become a member, the link is in the description. Join our members-only Discord. Also, I'll be streaming on Saturday. Sean Strickland, Jack Hermansson, entire main card. I will be streaming live. Make sure you join me. And do me a favor, if you haven't watched them already, go watch my predictions for UFC Vegas 47. They're on the channel. It's the last 2 videos I did. You can easily find them. I would appreciate you guys if you went and watched them and liked the videos. I would really appreciate it. Work hard on those videos. I did a prediction for Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Carlston Harris, as well as Hermansson versus Strickland. So if you guys can go check that out after this, I would greatly appreciate you. Would be hyped to do a Colby collab. Yeah. Lewis versus Tuivasa predictions. I'm going Lewis. Derek Lewis is just too fast, has nasty KO power. Viva Strickland, I'm going Strickland. Joey for Media Pass 2022. I would love. Just found out Brendan Fitzgerald has a solid YouTube channel. Not many views, but he does quality interviews. That's pretty cool. I think I've seen that once or twice before. I'm trying to build the channel myself. I'm trying to do quality content. For a while there, I was getting 30 views a video, guys. This is crazy. You know, now at least bare minimum, I get a couple hundred views a video. There was a point in time where every video I was posting was getting like 30 to 50 views. So for the channel to be where it's at now, over 2,000 subscribers, you know, 20 to 40 people in every live stream for the most part, I'm very, very happy. Ngannou pay-per-view buys have not been released, but official estimates are 400,000. Yeah, even if it did 700,000, you think the UFC, Dana wouldn't even wrap the belt around Ngannou? You think they're going to release they did great pay-per-view buys? No, it's not going to happen. But it definitely did more than 200,000. I don't believe that for 1 second. And you're telling me you don't trust the UFC to say, oh, well, it only did 200,000, leak it out somewhere, just to lie to devalue Ngannou? Do you watch Submission Radio? Sometimes I do, not a lot, but I do watch it. It's great interviews. You're welcome. Thank you. I don't remember what I said, but thank you. And I think that does it for this live stream. Join me Saturday. Do not forget, it's already on the channel, scheduled. You can go click on it, find it on the channel under upcoming live streams, and you can set a reminder for Saturday night. Please join me on Saturday. I always enjoy it. That was very unprofessional, Dana. I appreciate every single one of you guys who came to the live stream. I will see you guys Saturday, maybe before then. If I get some free time, I'll do another stream. As always, good talking to you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.